Hi everyone, welcome back to a brand new season of the Providence Money Wisdom Podcast. I'm Christopher Tan, your host, or rather co-host, because today we're going to speak to Isaac, who is going to be the new co-host for the Money Wisdom Podcast. So, Isaac, a very warm welcome to this podcast.
Hi Chris, very excited to be here.
Okay, so I'm excited also to find out more about you and to let everybody know more about you. So as a start, okay, Isaac, tell us and tell everyone out there, what do you do at Providend?
Okay, so I am an associate advisor at Providend, assisting our client advisors in serving our clients. So my daily duties mainly revolve around doing paraplanning work, such as assisting in developing comprehensive wealth plans, preparing financial reports, and also general administrative tasks.
Right.
The overall purpose of my role really is to learn more about Providend's planning philosophy and to learn and absorb as much as I can from client advisors that I am assisting.
Right.
So that eventually I will be able to be a full-fledged client advisor myself, taking a leading role in serving our affluent clients.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you can tell us, a bit more about on a day-to-day basis. How does it look like? Just very quickly, how does it look like for you when you come to work on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so in general, when I come to work, usually I will settle those general administrative tasks. And of course, I'll join in client meetings with client advisors, taking notes, making sure that, after the client meetings, we can have a discussion if there's anything that was missed out. And of course, when number crunching, when we collect information from our clients, we'll do the number crunching, we'll develop the plan together with the client advisor. And once that is checked off, and then I'll send it over to the clients and just all the general administrative tasks.
Right.
Yeah.
So you are not just here to be a para planner, because you mentioned here ultimately you are training to be a full-fledged client advisor.
Yes.
Okay. Now, also tell us a bit more. I mean, what is it about advisory work that really excites you? I mean, why do you want to do advisory work?
Yeah, so from the time I was in school until now, I find myself really interested in listening and helping people solve problems. So I love having long and deep conversations, or what we used to call heart-to-heart talks, with my friends, and sometimes from dusk to dawn. Listening to their life updates.
Wow, that's like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Dusk to dawn.
I mean, not 12 hours, but
Okay.
maybe 4 or 5 hours until like 3 a.m. maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so listening to any problems they are facing. And one thing I noticed about some of those problems is that even though they may seem similar sometimes, there really is no one right solution, or using a Singaporean term, 10-year series answer to any of them. There is always a degree of uniqueness about every issue, be it issues with their family, friends, partner, or work. Therefore, I always look forward to these sessions and never felt bored of it. I'm also someone who enjoys teaching. So when I was in the UK studying for my bachelor's degree, I was also appointed peer tutor for subjects that I was doing well in.
Oh, tell me about that. I mean, what do you do as a peer tutor?
So I would go to class maybe 1 hour earlier.
Okay.
Like, I'll go to class and meet up with mostly international students that are not very comfortable with English.
Okay.
And for the subjects that I'm doing well in, I would just answer any questions that they might have, or they might feel like during class it's a bit,
difficult to understand.
Yeah, difficult to ask.
So they book you
Yeah.
sort of like 1 hour before class. Is it an informal thing? I mean, or it's a formal thing?
It's a formal thing.
Okay.
However, it really is voluntary on the students' part.
Okay.
So if they are, for example, if this week's topic is something that they're struggling with, then they will just give me a call.
So it's your peer. It's the same, like people at the same level, same class as you, or can they be juniors, or no, they have to be like your classmates?
Typically, it's people in the same cohort,
Okay.
taking the same subjects,
I see.
and so whatever that I'm teaching is actually something that is really new to me as well, because we are in the same class. It's just that maybe in the assessment before, I did better than them, and that's why the lecturers were like, okay, maybe you can just have this platform to tutor them.
So has it has it ever been in a situation whereby after tutoring them, they end up scoring better than you?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
But the thing about university scores is they tend to keep it quite private. But if that's the case, like I'll be really happy because I feel a very strong sense of achievement every time my students or rather my peers understand a topic that they were struggling with initially.
But they didn't come back and tell you, like, Isaac, you taught me this, I got this score, and then you realize that, actually they did much better than me. There wasn't a situation like that.
Those that came back to me, they said they did well. Not maybe for those that came back like maybe close to my score, but they are thereabouts. But when I hear that, as long as they get a grade that they are satisfied with, it's very it feels very good.
Yeah. Okay, so you sign up for it, right? I mean, this is a volunteer basis, right? Nobody force you, right? Or in the university, you must do this or you don't graduate.
Yeah, so they asked for volunteers. So they got a group of us who did well in the assessments, the initial assessments, and they say like, this is not mandatory, but if you are interested, you can participate.
So you it seems like you are this kind of person, right? You said that you are the kind that you like to listen to people, listen to their issues, listen to their concerns, and then you try and sort of like give advice. You like to teach. You basically like to help people do well in life.
Yeah.
And that contributed to your desire to do advisory work.
Yeah. So naturally, the industry that I felt I can do more of this is within the advisory industry. To quote Tim Morer, personal finance is more personal than it is finance. So having the chance to connect with people from all walks of life and helping them achieve their unique life goals really piqued my interest.
Right. Okay, so that's the reason why you want to do advisory. I mean, but doesn't the whole stigma, because advisory, you talk about advisory, financial planning and all that, right, in Singapore. Go tell people that you are in, you can call it wealth management, wealth advice, financial advice. Yeah. People say, are you selling insurance, is it? I mean, have you ever felt that way?
So that's why, that really influenced my decision, if I don't want to just be selling insurance, maybe by joining a bank, banks have a wide variety of product offerings. Right. Maybe I can give more holistic and proper advice in the banks.
Okay. Yeah. So tell us a bit more, Isaac. I mean, you are not a spring chicken, so-called, in the industry. You're not new. Although you're quite young, but you're not new. You have been in this career for 5 years?
5 years, yeah.
Yeah, so tell us a bit more. I mean, what were you doing before you finally landed at Providend?
Yeah, so as I mentioned just now, I kick-started my wealth management career at a local bank as a personal banker. So, of course, after clearing my papers and getting licensed, I eagerly started, prospecting and meeting clients, and was really motivated to do the best I can for them. And so even though just now I mentioned that banks do offer quite a range of products, quite a range of products, right? Yep. It was limited to products that the bank had partnerships with, and it didn't take long for it to dawn upon me that based on how the targets were set, there was a strong emphasis or focus on insurance product sales or structured or leveraged products. Yeah. So as I gained more knowledge and understanding about financial planning and investments, I realized that these products, in my opinion, may not be the most efficient way to achieve.
For the client's goals.
For the client's goals. Yeah. So after heavy deliberations, and after all, this was the role that I felt like I was born to do, and something that initially I thought I would really enjoy. It was with a heavy heart that I left the client-facing advisory role.
How long were you there?
I was there for just about a year. Yeah.
Do you still remember how many clients you had?
Oh, I can't remember because it's a very high turnover, high pace. There's a lot of face time with many different clients. When you're at the branch, you have to serve many walk-ins. We do a lot of cold calls, etc.
Did you feel that, because you said you left with a heavy heart, right?
Yeah.
Did you feel that you let certain... I'm sure there will be some clients after that 1 year that you probably struck a closer relationship with, and then you have to leave. Did you feel that?
Definitely. The good thing is, even though I was there and I still did things as the best I can. I don't missell. I don't churn clients. I don't pitch an amount that they are not comfortable with investing. However, it is not. When I was there, I felt like if I do it this way, in terms of career progression, I would probably not go too far.
Be stagnated,
yes.
Because I remember you telling me a story which is really quite impressive about how you decided to do what is right for the clients, even though that you were told to do something else, right? And you had to reverse what you initially did because you felt that it was better for the clients, lah.
Yeah, definitely. So there are some instances where I, after, if let's say I have a joint appointment with my boss, I will have to after the meeting I will just give a call back to the client. I'm just like, actually there are other alternatives and this may not be the most suitable for you.
Yeah, I can see why you're not going to go very far in the bank if you always do that. But just out of curiosity, right? I never asked you that. How did the client react? After that, it's like, hey, but just now you told me to do this. Now how come your boss not around already? You're calling me back to do this. Did they ever ask you?
So the way I word it was that maybe we upon further thinking on second thoughts. But after the call, they're usually very grateful that I gave them a call back, and after I explained to them, maybe this is not a good product, and I explained to them why, they're like, so so how do I go about cancelling or not putting through what they have bought lah.
Okay. Well, sorry I interrupted you, but I thought, I wanted to find out a bit more because, some of these things I don't even know, right? So I asked you how the client must be feeling a bit weird. You sold me this product and then the next minute you call me and say, don't do it. Okay, tell us more. Yeah, what else were you doing before you joined Providend?
Yeah, so after I left this industry for a while, I secured a back office position at UBS Wealth Management.
Okay.
So it's still within the wealth management space, but it's not really client facing. So it's more ops and processing. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a great few years at UBS, working as a corporate actions analyst.
How many years?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years
okay.
over there. Yeah. 2 years plus.
Okay. Corporate action analyst. So every time there's a corporate action announcement being made and all that, you have to respond.
Yes. So mandatory events, voluntary events. Voluntary events would be the main focus because we have to get clients' response. So a simple one would be when there is a dividend announcement from, let's say, a local bank, for example. Then the client has the option to take cash or to reinvest. Yep.
So UBS must have paid you pretty well. But you only stayed there for 2 years, You didn't continue on. Yeah. Where do you go next?
Okay, so the pay was decent, and even though I enjoyed working there with my colleagues and the work I did, I felt that as a career, it's really not my passion. From time to time, I would still be thinking about how about meeting clients, and that's what I really enjoy to do.
No chance for you to have those heart-to-heart talks with your clients because you're in a back room, right? In the back office, right? So no chance at all to give any advice, tell people what are the right things to do and all that. Okay, so you left.
Yeah, so Chris, as you know me, I'm a very talkative person. So it's I like talking, and in the back room role, it's not really ideal.
I'm sure you're the most talkative in the back. Right?
Yeah. But whether it's detriment, it can be. It's not a bonus, or rather not a strength to have.
Yeah, some people doing opposite that. Isaac, shut up! Stop talking. I need to focus on this transaction or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you move on.
Yeah. So, so I moved on, and I went. It's not an easy decision, obviously, because not only I already had 2 years plus in the bank as in my role. So obviously the next jump would entail maybe a 20%, 30% jump in pay. And I know that when I go back to the advisory space again, I have to be more realistic with my pay expectations lah.
But you decided to go anyway lah. You decided to still move to advisory lah.
Yeah, so I was very what held me back was like, okay, what if I go back and I face the same thing again?
Okay. The same dilemma that you faced in your first career.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So so what I was looking for is like maybe something that I can do more ethical work lah.
Okay.
And then of course along the way, I found out about Providend lah, and their fee only model. Yeah.
Okay. So that's how you ended up with us.
Yeah.
Okay. We are very glad to have you, but obviously there must be some reasons that make you choose us, right? So what made you decide to join Providend?
Yeah, so the wealth advisory space in Singapore is mostly commission-based, which I felt like, based on past experience, had an inherent conflict of interest. As high commission products are typically not what I believe is best for people. So to put it simply, what's good for me as an advisor may not always be good for you. So this misalignment of interest made it hard for me to take the leap of faith and restart my advisory career. So when interestingly enough, like when I was searching for a job, I noticed that in overseas, right, like let's say Australia or in the US, financial advisory is something that is quite well respected because most of the firms are actually fee only.
Right.
Yeah. So when I was doing my research, I was like, Providend is one of, if not the only fee only wealth advisory in Singapore. So I still was still a bit unsure. So I started to.
You weren't sure whether we are real.
Yeah, can't blame me, right?
Yeah.
But so what I did was I started watching a lot of videos about Providend and really listened to yourself, Evelyn, and a few of the client advisors. They were talking about how they view financial planning, and that was when I knew that Providend was the real deal.
So how has it been so far? You have been with us for slightly over a year? Has it been slightly over a year?
Slightly over a year, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't prep you for this question. And you don't have to be diplomatically correct. How has it been so far, the journey with us so far?
The journey has been great. The work is really quite tough. To be honest, like I am very shocked about how much work we do for our clients. So for example, we don't just just plug in the numbers, get some figures out, and then we just say that, oh, this is how much that you need to invest. We really consider like how the clients how they make money decisions, how they are as a person, what they view, and like so sometimes even though on a spreadsheet like this is the right answer, but if they implement this so-called right answer, they feel very uncomfortable. So we have to consider like how they deal with risk and growing up, how their parents like taught them about money, etc.
Right.
So
so I remember, Isaac, when I first spoke to you, when you first came looking for me, you almost didn't join us.
Yeah.
Right? You almost joined a robo.
Yes.
Right? Because you have a friend there, right?
Yeah.
So you were telling me that you really want to join Providend, but you want to go out there and get more clients first and have a book of assets. That was what you said, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, why do you need to do that? But tell me, why did you feel that you needed to have a book of assets before joining us?
Yeah, so it's embarrassing. It's quite embarrassing thinking about it. After working at Providend and really knowing how Providence hires, but so I can be forgiven. But then because like in the industry, typically especially in the affluent wealth advisory space, typically how client advisors are hired is based on the book of clients that they have.
Right.
So I remember specifically saying that, Chris, I'm going to join another company, and but my dream is still to join Providend. So what I'll do is I'll get a book of clients, tens of millions of dollars, and then I'll be like, okay, yeah, so I'll bring them over to Providend lah. So hopefully you can accept me lah. And the look on your face was like, huh, no, that's not what we do here. So I was like, oh, okay. Then you explained to me like, how you all view hiring advisors. Yeah.
Because I mean, we have been doing this for the last 20 over years lah, and we have tried all ways of hiring advisors. We have tried hiring from the industry, financial advisors. We have hired bankers, and all that. And then we realized that it is actually really tough to hire from the industry. And the reason why it is tough is because everybody comes with a certain baggage. They have a certain style of planning or selling, and all that. But, you've been with us for 1 year. We are a very planning focused firm. Yep. Right, we spend a lot of time planning, and the learning curve is actually really steep. We rather take someone actually young and train them from the start, not just in the way we plan, but also inculcate in them, help them understand our philosophy, get them to be immersed in our culture, so that they can absorb the DNA, because it's not just competence. It's not just technical competence. It's not just knowledge. Yes, that's important. And that's why we want to train you from young. But it's that whole DNA, that desire of wanting to do the right thing for the client, right? So that we can give them honest and independent and competent advice. So actually, we really prefer to hire, for client advisors, right? We actually prefer to hire someone young, fresh. They have no baggages. We used to have this joke in Providend. It said, in Mandarin, right, is 不要中毒太深 lah. Don't gonna poison too deeply, right? So that we don't have to reverse a lot of things, right? So we will not be very impressed if someone comes to me and said, I've been working in this industry for the last 10 years and I've got 150 million worth of assets. And I want to join you. Actually, I'm quite worried because I'm not sure how they get 150 million. Was it being recommended to the clients correctly? And then after that, they join us and then the philosophy is different. I have to unravel all those. Oh no. So we actually really like to hire young people. And you notice that a lot of people we hire so far, they're all very unique. But the one thing they have in common is that they have that very strong desire to do the right thing for the clients. Yep. We hire based on that. Now, competence to us is hygiene, is a given, right? But more importantly is your passion, why you want to join us. So, I also remember, Isaac, you mentioned that you also want to contribute to your family, because you come from I would say, above average family. Whereby your family have enough to do some investments and all that. Yeah. And you always have that desire to, in a way, contribute to the family, share opinion with your father, whom you respect very much. Yeah. Right? And that's also one reason why you want to be in this space. Maybe you tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah. So my dad started a small business around the time when I was born.
Wow, that's almost 30 years ago.
Yeah, 30 years ago. Yeah. So he worked really hard, as I think you can relate to that, right? As an entrepreneur, you start a company from scratch and it really takes out a lot of your time, and even when you're home, you're worried. As an employer, the mindset is a bit different because the losses, you have to take the losses, right? Yeah. The losses, for employee, yes, you may lose your job, but most likely
not lose your life savings. But for your dad, if he loses the business, he doesn't just lose his income; he loses his entire life savings.
Yeah, there's a lot of risks involved. When you rent a place and let's say there's no business, the payment will still have to come, right? Yeah, so it was a very stressful life, and he worked really hard. And thankfully, his business is doing quite well today. And with that comes more financial comfort. However, you know, when I read this from a book from Morgan Housel, The Psychology of Money. So the traits that help you achieve success, like help you gain wealth, you know, risk taking, optimistic, etc., is actually completely different from the traits that are required to keep your wealth. You know,
To
which
be a good investor.
Yeah, to be more prudent, to be a bit more pessimistic. Yeah,
To confront the brutal truth.
Yes.
When you say pessimistic, I mean you face it as it is.
Yeah.
You don't be overly optimistic,
Yeah.
but you confront the brutal fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to do, you know, in my career especially, is to not only obviously help our clients, but also personally by gaining knowledge, and you know, I can guide my family to make sure that our wealth is efficiently invested and at the same time and preserved. Yeah.
Because it's your dad's hard-earned money, right? It's 30 years of hard work. Sometimes I do not know whether people in our industry realize that. Because they see the money, they see the wealth of their prospective clients. They want a part of it and they want to sell them a product. But I don't know whether they realize that that money that their prospective clients or clients have represents their hard work, their dreams for the family, right? I don't know whether they see that, because I think if we see that, we would be a lot more careful in what we recommend to our clients, right? Because if that investment turn out to be doing very badly, loses money, to us is okay, just too bad. We have gotten our commissions ready, right? In a commission-based world, right? But to the client, it can be losing all their lifelong savings, their dreams for the family. Actually, we destroy lives. So I don't know whether we, in our industry, we really realize.
So from my time here, you know, when I'm working, the senior client advisors always say, we cannot afford to make one mistake. You know, because you know, maybe in the commission world, when you know, if you sell the wrong product and something that's not suitable, okay, on to the next one. For us, we realize the importance of being, you know, really very prudent when it comes to what we tell our clients, what we advise our clients, because one mistake, you know, in finance, especially for personal finance, you don't have the chance to make mistakes after mistakes.
I'm sure you're the front seat of that. I mean, you watch your father's hard-earned money, and he oftentimes probably gets some advice from his advisors and or that you are at the front seat. Like you realize that, wow, this is my dad's hard-earned money. And I suppose you want to be there to listen and contribute also your opinions to your father.
So I think a couple of years back, I was joining with him with all the meetings with the private banks, and sometimes, you know, the products that they recommend, you know, is very complex, you know, and of course, as you know, as human, we have ego, and we're like, okay, you know, sometimes we ask a few questions, but we don't really want to ask too much, because like
you don't understand, but we don't want to tell people we don't understand. I have the problem too. Sometimes if I ask, maybe they think I'm very stupid.
You know, all the structured products and all these various complicated stuff, and you know, and even until today, you know, like with more experience, I realized that actually a lot of these products are unnecessarily complicated,
complex,
or complex, because they have to embed a commission or embed a layer of fees within the products that they are building, you know, because they have to earn something, right? In a way. So by getting more financial knowledge, and you know, I can really help guide my family to against all those pitfalls, potential pitfalls that they might face. So thankfully, you know, I've been joining in with my dad to the client meetings, and you know, I can actually tell him that, you know, this may not be the right product for you. And so
did your dad listen?
Oh yes,
Okay,
yes.
great.
Most of the time,
And that makes you feel good as well, right?
Yes.
Like he listens to your views and opinions.
A part of it is because like I'm in the industry as well, and ever since I joined Providend in the affluent space, so definitely I feel that really influenced his trust in me lah. Obviously I'm his son, he trusts me, but like sometimes like in terms of competency, maybe I wasn't there. Yeah, but now that I'm in this space, I have a better understanding lah. But he's always been very good with money. He always like share with me like, oh, my $10 is someone else's $50. He just always tells me that he knows how to stretch the dollar lah. Yeah.
I'm sure your dad is very proud of you for what you have achieved so far. And I mean, I'm a father myself, and I can say quite confidently that when you go into those meetings and your father sees you asking those questions and giving him those advice, I'm sure he's very proud of you that now my son has grown up, right? And now he is able to contribute to some of the decisions that I have to make.
Yeah. So in the past he used to have to deal with all this himself. Thankfully, he didn't he didn't accumulate a lot of these like really bad financial products. But I think it's very comforting for him to have someone who can share this burden with him. And
Thanks for sharing that. So you are going to be the new co-host for Money Wisdom, right?
Yeah.
The first host after me. Right, so
big shoes to fill.
No. I told you that I didn't do much. Like the first season, I did nothing but just reading from the book that I have written. But this second season promises to be a lot more exciting because we're going to have a lot more interviews. You're going to speak to important people, influential people, and you're going to be part of it. How does that make you feel?
A little bit nervous, to be honest, but definitely very excited. Like during my free time, I always listen to many different podcasts, and what struck me the most was how different each were. So as the host, I get to set the tone and the style of the podcast. So it's really exciting for me. And also being the co-host of this podcast, I will have the chance to sit down with many internal and external experts to talk about a wide range of topics that matter to most people, such as what underpins our insurance and investment philosophy, and also how we integrate CPF into our planning methodology, etc. Yeah.
I've been doing interviews for quite a while. I mean, I interview people. The one thing I can tell you is that we are in a very privileged position because we have a chance as a host to really go into a part of our interviewee's life and be able to get that out and share it with people. I find that to be the most rewarding, because we can share all those technical bits, how do you invest your money, and all that, but actually, we learn most from stories, and we learn more from the experiences of other people. And we have a chance through our skills, through our questions, to be able to get that out from our guests and really apply their experiences to our lives. I find that to be the most exciting. So, I think everybody looks forward to you hosting the Money Wisdom podcast, and we're excited for you, not just being a host at Money Wisdom, but also being an associate advisor and finally becoming a full-fledged client advisor. I don't think it will take very long. You will have a chance to meet clients and advise them. So once again, thank you, Isaac. Thank you for accepting this interview and also hosting the Money Wisdom podcast. So to everyone out there, I hope you have enjoyed this episode, our interview with Isaac. And if you feel like you really enjoyed this episode and you really enjoy our podcast so far, I invite you to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media for similar contents. And as always, thank you so much for listening to us, and we will see you in the next episode.
Thank you, everyone.
All analyses, views, or opinions from interviews, recommendations, and other information broadcasted, podcasted, or published herein are provided for general information purposes only. Information expressed does not take into account any specific situation, particular needs, or objectives, and should not be construed as specific advice or a recommendation. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal or tax professional before taking any action. Providend Limited does not accept any liability for any loss whatsoever arising from any use of the information broadcasted, podcasted, or published herein. All contents and information contained herein may not be copied or reproduced in whole or in part by any means without prior written consent of Providend Limited.